Yo.
Hey, welcome to the new meta, episode 108. Flawless,
108.
flawless execution.
Yep,
Look at that.
that's all me.
108, man. Last week we had a little bit of a break. You were on vacation.
True. Yeah, I guess. I did a pretty piss poor job of saying that the week before. So everyone's like, where's the podcast?
Yeah, where's the podcast? And then Thursday when you got back, they're like, yo, are you doing a podcast tonight? And I'm like, no, I didn't. Yeah, we should have communicated that better. Whoops.
Yeah. Whoops.
Our bad.
Mm-hmm.
So thanks for hanging out. But we're back. We're here. We got some ARPG news, some things to talk about. We had a nice pre-podcast. If you guys want to check those out, man, don't forget the Patreon can hear all of the pre-podcasts where Fluff and I got to talk about our amazing weeks.
Yep.
This week. So it's been a blast. Mm-hmm. It's been pretty good.
Yep.
Let's jump into some foliage, man.
Yeah. So a couple weeks ago now, we asked if you had to choose one way to loot, which do you prefer? So loot at any given moment, like you do in a rift, or from like treasure chests, clickables, kills, etc., or loot at the end of a event, like a GR or killing a boss, or some kind of static event like a rift or something. A rift from rift.
That's hard, man.
Yeah.
It's hard to choose because it's exciting to know any possible moment you could get the item you want.
Yeah, but also,
It sucks to stop and have to go back and like backtrack and kill things.
Mm-hmm.
I would say loot at any possible moment with the stipulation that any items you miss or don't pick up go to a mail system in town that you can recover them from the mail system. WoW has implemented something like that. Destiny has also implemented something like that. And that's really cool. Other games that haven't, like Diablo obviously hasn't. Division doesn't have anything like that. In those games, it feels like you're always constantly checking the map. Like, did I miss something? Did I miss a drop? And where with Division and or Destiny and WoW, it's like, oh, it's cool. If I miss something, it'll be at the mailbox when I go back to town. So that's how I would prefer it. I'd say any moment, as long as it goes back to town in case I miss it. But it depends on the speed of the game too. You know?
Yeah,
I think it's as bad in like Lost Ark. Like Lost Ark's a much slower style of play comparatively. And like if loot drops in Lost Ark, I don't think it's as much of a like, oh man, because you're not 10 screens away from it.
Here's why looting is better, period, in Lost Ark. Like, so I've been playing a ton of Lost Ark this past week. And it's a hotkey, right? It's not like, oh, I'm going to click and click, which in Diablo is pretty annoying sometimes because like maybe you misjudge a click. In POE, it's awful because items will straight up not be where they're supposed to be. And so it feels terrible. So the thing that I love about Lost Ark is that pickup key. So you kill a bunch of stuff and then you just like spam a key and you're just like, walking around that area and just pick stuff up for you. I love that system so much better than the click. Oh, got that, got that.
Yeah, I'm with you. I would say it's probably, although as much as it's nice to do greater rifts and only have to worry about loot at the very end for efficiency, I would think if there were no loot during any other activities except boss kills, I think that would be kind of stale. And it would really trivialize killing any kind of trash. You would want to just go straight to the bosses and get out. And that would be more. Well,
there could be systems in place that's like, you can't kill the boss unless you kill the trash and stuff like that.
Yeah, you must clear XYZ% of trash. Like, like a normal rift. I would vote option number 1.
Loot at any given moment.
Unfortunately.
Oh, I had to pick. I would loot at the end of an event, I think, at the end of the day. I like especially playing Lost Ark where I'm just enjoying the combat so much. It's just like, I just want to focus on that and not like worry about.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. I'm curious as to your thoughts on the new things. So we'll definitely get into it.
But yeah, I don't know about that. Let's do one. 65% of the vote says loot only at the end of an event. And 34% says...
I would go with that option if there's a current system, like no mail system. You know, I hope they implement a mail system in D4 to where you're not like always worried about losing it. So, but
Interesting.
Yeah,
there it is.
Oh, there it is.
But I mean, GRs are better than refs, so maybe that's influenced. And then for next week, obviously it's a very heavily contested thing going on right now. We'll talk about it in just a minute. But the question is, do you think Blizzard should disable the seasonal theme and reset the leaderboards for the rest of Season 21? Yes, sets can carry. No, seasonal theme is fine.
Mm-hmm.
Will you guys vote on that? And we'll talk about it later, but yeah.
There it is.
There it is.
So let's talk about the season.
Yeah.
So far.
So, you know, for me, I was having actually a blast. I think, to me, this season, and this sounds weird to say, this season has been my favorite season. Because this is the most impactful changes we've gotten for the Necromancer since Season 12.
Yeah.
So for me, this is my favorite season. Now, the seasonal theme is like an unfortunate coincidence for me. But I do really like Necro got push builds that are actual good push builds, which is kind of a first. And, you know, we have brand new ways to speed farm the game, like dozens, you know, like the new changes that they made. Like, so this season has been amazing. And I was actually a little disappointed that I had to, like, you know, for me, the reason I played Diablo at this point still is to push the boards and, you know, staying on top, and, you know, I was 3+ GRs ahead of people, and then I had to leave town for 5 days, and it's just like my season's over. And I come back, I'm like 700 Paragon behind, and like, I mean, there's really just no way to make that up, and that feeling really sucks because I was having a good time.
Yeah, there's no way to make it up, especially with people botting.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, because they're not going to shut down. Like, if it were people that had to play, you would at least feel like, okay, well, eventually at some point in the season, they're going to have to shut down for a little bit, you know, but it's not the case. So, yeah, I'm with you. So that's kind of where I was going to end up going. Are you shutting down for the season? Is your season?
Yeah, I mean, as soon as I came back, you know, I was like, I checked the leaderboards. I'm 700 behind. You know, it just sucks.
Yeah.
It's kind of a curse of death. I mean, I could just like keep pushing and get top 20 or something like that, but it's obviously not as exciting as maintaining rank 1.
Yeah, it is, and that's kind of my thought process is the same. Like, I don't really care too much about. I've missed time too. You know, just with the opening weekend was 4th of July weekend. I had to miss a couple days then, so I was already at a handicap for missing an entire 36 hours right there. And then this week I had a bunch of stuff going down. So last week, sorry. So I didn't get to play, and it's I'm behind too. I don't really care about the boards as much. People are cheesing the theme, and so they, we'll get into that later, and that's influenced things, and they patch it, and then the people are still cheesing it in 4-mans. So basically, people are cheesing it in 4-mans to farm so much Paragon that even if you want to maintain a spot on a solo board, like an example, let's say you didn't go out of town, right, and you played all week.
Yeah.
But you're still going to compete with somebody that's doing 150s in 9 to 10 minutes per clear consistently. We're not talking to like 1 or 2. We're talking about every one in 9 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And the amount of XP that they're going to get from that, and the amount of gem augmentations they're going to be augmented in full 150 gems and all this other stuff. So if you want to compete, then you also have to give in to okay, well, now I'm going to go cheese 150s with the seasonal theme. And regardless of if you think it's okay or not okay, like, it's forcing you into a very, very specific play style.
But to me, that's no different than what was already happening. Like, I had to
it's
play
already been that way.
XP metas to keep up. So I would have just cheesed the seasonal theme. I probably would have hated it, but I hated running rat runs for the 10th season in a row. But
this is why they need to implement SSF officially, and this is part of like why Diablo forcing like, no, we're not going to have leaderboards and we're not going to have officially supported SSF is kind of crazy.
Yeah,
because if Diablo 3 had an officially supported SSF, you're not forced into running the 4-man stuff. If you're like, I'm a solo player, I don't care, I don't want to do group, I don't want to do any of that, then you don't have to go do it. you can sit there and just do the solo and push the solo SSF leaderboards and be like, yo, I'm the best, or I can compete because they don't have these advantages that I don't feel like doing, you know?
Yeah.
So
I guess it kind of depends on how the end game shapes out. Because, you know, like we heard at BlizzCon, it was like, well, leaderboards as you know them won't exist because only 1% of the players use them or whatever. So I guess if there's no end game PvE competition, I guess what will be the point of SSF? I hope that there is, because then, like, for me, it'd be like, what's the point of even playing if there's no like end game competition?
Okay, so POE doesn't have leaderboard, but what's the point in that?
They kind of do. I mean,
they have delve.
They have the delve,
right?
but they also have like the kind of unofficial, like, okay, you go to POE Ninja, and I'm like the highest. I've got the most damage for an assassin running, you know, ethereal knives or something, which is kind of cool, but. It's very like.
But having the most damage just means you have the best gear. It doesn't mean that you're the best player at it.
Totally.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm with you though. But I do think I agree that if there's not a leaderboard or some kind of competitive means, why play SSF at all? Maybe we'll see more end games that could be like, yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just a bragging rights thing. Like, hey, I was able.
That's kind of PoE. Like, you play SSF for that additional challenge.
It's like, hey, I was able to kill Awakener 8 in SSF. You know, that could be a goal. Maybe Lilith's going to be hard as fuck. You know what I mean? So they had vanilla D3 was overtuned, in my opinion, especially on normal difficulty. Like, you know, Belial was an absolute brick wall for my character. You know,
a lot of characters,
yeah, it was just like, wow. So, you know, maybe 4 will have things like that. So it'll actually be an achievement to SSF kill specific bosses. But
yeah, I mean, I remember having to like stack so much recovery on my barb, and I actually ended up like buying a specific like gear set and skill set just to kill Belial.
Yeah, so when I was playing Barb also, and I got to Belial, and it was pretty easy up to Belial. I mean, you know, you died, but you didn't hit a brick wall. And then I got to Belial, and I'm like, what the actual F just happened? And after I couldn't kill him, I remember farming pots and Skeleton King to get gold to go to the auction house to specifically buy life on hit weapons, so I could life on hit and kill Belial. And that's how I ended up killing him. That's how I did it.
They had lifesteal too back in those days. Oh man,
wasn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe it was lifesteal. Maybe it was lifesteal, not life on hit.
They did both back then.
Yeah, I don't remember, but I do specifically remember getting some weapons that would heal me back then, and I was like, "Yo, this is how you do it." Maybe it was lifesteal, because I think they removed that from the game later on. So
they did.
Yeah, so it was, but it was, I don't know, man. Was it cool at the time? Like, look back at it now. At the time, I think I was a little pissed off. But looking back at it now, was it cool to have those milestones? Because we remember that.
Yeah,
I remember that very clearly. I don't remember killing Skeleton King, but I remember Belial kicking my ass.
The two things are, I remember Belial. I was like, whoa. And then I remember the final difficulty going in Act 2 and like fighting my first wasp. I was like, wow, what the fuck? Like, could not survive.
Yeah, the wasps shooting the poison, and they would like glitch off screen. As a barb too, you couldn't hit them, so they would like go off screen, and it was just like one shot death. Yeah, I remember thinking Act 2 really sucked, and I was like, I hate this. I can't. I wish I could go back to 1. Because it was just like, this is bad. But yeah, Belial, I don't remember the other bosses. I mean, Diablo, I think might have worked me 1 or 2 times to kill him as well, but I don't know. Difficulty is a good thing, but at the same time, how many people do you think that shied? Like, if Diablo 4 is the same, let's say you get to the first boss in Act 1 in Diablo 4, and it's just a brick wall like that. You're like, damn, I got to go grind to get gear to kill this guy. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I mean, I'd say yes, it's a good thing. From like an initial game experience, yeah, I think that would be a pro.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a big hurdle.
Yeah, I also think we played barbs too. I had a friend that played monk, and he said he was able to cheese Belial pretty fast, pretty easy. Maybe he was just lucky with the drops he had at the time too. Because I remember specifically getting in a call with my buddy. You know, we're brand new, we're so hyped about the game. It was like, you know, first day we actually got to play or something, and I'm like, Belial's kicking my ass. He's like, really? Like, I think I one-shot it.
Hmm.
I'm like, huh.
I was grouping with the monk, and we were both struggling.
Yeah. So maybe he just had some good drops.
Maybe.
I don't know. But yeah, so as far as season 21, man, I've been playing a lot of God DH, and I'm starting to burn out on it finally. Like just like I thought. I thought the first 2 to 3 weeks it would carry. Okay. I haven't really pushed at all since the first week. I like one key to 123, which at the time was like a 200-ish clear. But it was like I one keyed 16, 17, all the way up to 23. So I could have obviously gone a lot higher. And it's okay. The push style on the God DH is all right. It's not super challenging to play.
Mm-hmm.
It's also you definitely have to understand some of the basic mechanics so you don't get killed the whole time. I think toughness is probably more of an issue for a lot of people. But it's okay, and group play is okay. It's a fun set, super fast set, but just like it's not keeping me in past 2 or 3 weeks.
Sure.
And so I just rolled a new character last night. I'm like, all right, let's make a Z-Barb so we can do some push metas or do something a higher tier instead of speeds. And then maybe I'll roll a Necro later on too, but
yeah, man.
I don't know, man.
Poison Scythe is pog.
Is it fun to play? Do you enjoy the playstyle?
I mean, like, let's look back on the history of Diablo 3 and push builds for the Necromancer. Yeah, I think you would like it.
You know what? Cold Lance was okay. I didn't hate Cold Lance.
Sure.
I pushed Cold Lance in season 12 or 13, and it was okay.
If you thought Cold Lance is okay, then you're gonna love Poison Scythe.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, Cold Lance, you died a lot, and you're just like waiting for cooldowns.
And Poison Scythe, you literally never die. It's pretty insane.
That's cool. So it's it'll be fun. I'll probably end up making one this season just to give it a shot and see how it goes.
There is concern, that it will overperform in 4-man. I mean, it's hard to know because 4-man is just on a whole different place right now.
Yeah.
But there is concern that, Poison Scythe could get nerfed, so it might be the only
in a future season. You mean next patch?
Maybe.
Yeah. So if you want to play it, now's the season to do it, is what you're saying.
I mean, I've been saying that for a while though, which is funny. Yeah. Because it's like the triple cube is like, oh wow, Poison Scythe's like got more damage now. You should try it now because you'll never be able to do it again. And then they like buff Poison Scythe. Like, oh, okay.
Right. So what do you think about performance? Like playing DH and grouping with a lot of DHs. Performance in the game has been an issue. It's been laggy. I've been rubber banding a lot. I've been even crashing. I think I had the client crash 3 or 4 times on me this season, which never, ever happens in the history of Diablo. I've never had the client crash in the middle of a game. I can't, honestly, maybe twice in like 6,000 hours, I've had that happen. And the only thing I can think about is, man, if I were playing hardcore, I'm dead right here. Mm-hmm. If I were playing hardcore, I'm dead right. Like 4 times this season, I would have died in hardcore because my clients crashed. And rubber banding, and I blame a lot of it on DH. Specifically, it seems like we've narrowed it down to the ZDH. If you have a ZDH throwing bolus around, that really causes some crazy server lag. But what about necro play? Are you feeling it?
I mean, when I was doing ZNec runs in a group in a 4-man setting, I mean, I definitely crashed. I don't know that I crashed more than I have in the past. I don't know that I lagged more than I did in the past, but I also think maybe I left, that week that I think more and more people were probably discovering how you could kind of mess up the 4-man. And so that's probably causing, a lot more people are doing that, which probably causes a lot of lag. So I would assume a lot of it's coming from that.
Yeah. The DH... From the testing that we've been doing the last couple of days, it seems like the DH using the cold bolus that group everything up, which is so cool. It looks amazing. It's fun to play, but it just seems to like really kill the game and break stuff. And it's unfortunate because I've been tossing around the idea of playing hardcore a little bit this season. Just I don't really play it much, and why not? But man, with the rubber banding and lag I'm getting on DH, it's like, well, I definitely wouldn't play DH. Maybe if Necro is super, super tanky, maybe that's a thing. Maybe we can get a Necro to 70 and then try to get that Poison Scythe setup going. You know, Necro and hardcore. That's scary, but it could be fun though if you got the setup running.
Yeah,
you know,
if you get Poison Scythe, it's not really scary anymore.
Yeah,
as a Necro.
So and then you said something about a sound glitch. What sound glitch were you talking about?
Oh yeah, that was from 2 weeks ago. I was like, wow, these points are all still super relevant. The sound glitch was like happening. They fixed that, but it was just like the sound of the seasonal theme like coming down was like literally like it was overloading your sound driver, and it was like it was like awful to hear.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think I got that.
Yeah.
But I think I play with sound off a lot too, so that could probably have saved my ears. So
right.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And they also like turned down the visual stuff, like getting it on like the sand map or the I don't know what the other one is, but man, it was like I would almost suffer a seizure because it was like so.
Yeah. There's the maps that have like a bluish fog to them, like a tint to them. And so that kind of already makes some effects hard to see, like frozen and other things like that, like or grotesque explosions. Like they're just not as noticeable. And then you throw in the seasonal theme at times when it would darken the screen or mess with the screen, and you're just like, God, I can't see anything. Like this is there's already a big clump of trash, so you're already trying to pick it out in there, and then now you got the blue tint and you have the seasonal theme tint, and it's like I might as well just ignore whatever because I can't see it anyways.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, overall, it's no surprise that more than I can remember. I shouldn't even say more than I can remember. This is the only time I can recall that the community is in uproar about turning off the seasonal theme. Like there's posts out there that's like, like give us the option to opt out of the seasonal theme. Just turn it off and give us like Nemesis or COE or something. Like I've never seen this much feedback to.
Yeah, I've seen some things like that too. Like somebody asking for seasonal theme. Of convention, COE seasonal theme blows my mind because a year ago we would have been like, oh man, that's the shittiest seasonal theme ever. Like, don't. But I'm kind of with it a little bit now. I'm kind of like, yeah, at this point, it's an option. Like we talked. I asked the question in my stream last night: should we turn off the seasonal theme and just turn on double bounty mats or something else? One of the easy, quick, non intrusive ones, and overwhelmingly the answer was yes, which it wasn't even, I don't think I had anybody like, no, it's fine. I don't think I got a single person saying that. And a lot of people are even going to the point of like, yeah, the seasonal theme is trash and this and that, and I'm like, man, I don't want to call it trash. Like I don't think the seasonal theme in its design is a bad thing. I think that when in its implementation, they took a bunch of assets that were in the game that didn't take a bunch, they didn't have money to get new things coded in, right? So let's take these assets that are here, let's put them in, let's try to make them work. And I think it's a really cool idea and a really good effort. I just think the performance issues that it has are not good. And I think the way that you can abuse it still in 4-mans to cheese the rifts, although it might be fun to do for a little bit, I don't think that stays within the spirit of the game. You know what I mean? I think that breaks the spirit of the game, and I think that's what pisses people off. And it's not necessarily that the seasonal theme is trash in design or implementation. It's just like it's not what we want out of a theme. We don't want a theme to break greater rifting, because greater rifting is the only end game we have in Diablo.
Yeah,
that's it. And if you break that, then what do we have? We don't have anything. So I think that's where the disconnect is coming from. So
yeah, and part of that disconnect, one of the posts that I guess triggered the community was when Pez said, per the design from the design team, the seasonal buff being passed around in groups is working as intended. As noted in the hotfix items that Rich posted, the idea that you can grab stacks along outside the GR and take them off is clearly not intended, and then season metas will change with each season is kind of his final statement. So do you want to, for those that don't know, in a nutshell, kind of
explain? Yeah. So the way the seasonal theme works is when you go into a rift, it now resets your timer when you enter the rift, and each individual person in the rift has an individual timer on the seasonal theme. and I think it's every minute and a half it procs, I think, if I'm remembering that right. But it's a visual that you can see counting down. As you kill creatures in the rift, you gain stacks of the seasonal theme. When your timer expires, you use those stacks and it does damage based on the amount of stacks you have. But that should reset your counter to 0. However, if somebody else has stacks and they come within a screen, it's about a screen and a half proximity, whoever has the highest stacks passes those stacks to everybody in the group. So what you do is you start a rift, and then 15 to 20 seconds in, somebody either A, teleports out and then re-enters immediately to reset their own personal timer, or they just, as soon as you start the rift, they walk out, wait 15 seconds, walk back in. So now you have one person who's got a different timer, and then you got 3 people who have the same timer. They run in, they kill a bunch of shit, the stacks go up, go up, go up. The person who has a different timer is going to synchronize with the group and have their maximum stacks. As soon as the group's timer is about to go off, that one person who has a different timer runs away from the party with all their stacks. The groups will go off, they'll spend all their stacks and go back to 0. That person with the 500 stacks or whatever comes back to the group, passes his 500 stacks back to the entire group, and then the group keeps killing shit and their stacks go up. Meanwhile, the person who had the 500 stacks that went away, his buff's going to go off. He's going to go to 0. The group's going to repass the 500 stacks back to him. And this process just keeps repeating. And so basically what's happening is your stacks are never getting depleted. They're just continuously being passed around. And by the time you get to the Rift Guardian, you're sitting at 6, 7, 8, 900 stacks. And then you keep just passing the stacks away on the Rift Guardian, and you're smoking the Rift. You're just destroying the Rift Guardian with the seasonal theme. And the trash as well. Like it just is this snowball effect of kicking ass.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how it works in a nutshell. And them saying that it's working as intended, they specifically said the passing of stack. What does that say? Something about the design teams, the seasonal buff being passed around in a group is working as intended. I mean, that's like you're saying it right there that this is okay. Like the manipulation of this passing of stacks is working as intended, is saying it's okay to do. And so to me, that's the green light to do it. And we tested it a little bit on stream last night. I mean, it's powerful, man. So what you can do is then you can stack 3 ZDPS, 1 trash clear, and then you can kill the Rift Guardian without even having an RGK. You know, and
Right.
it's fast runs.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I can understand kind of both sides here. I'm gonna play devil's advocate for both sides. That's what I like to do. Okay. So I think that from a community perspective, it's hard to believe that is, working as quote unquote intended. It seems like such a really bizarre kind of workaround to kind of cheese these 4-man 150s. So to kind of put a stamp on it as, oh, well, that's just working as intended, instead of like wrapping it in like, well, it's different. It's a different way to play the game. So like enjoy it. We're probably not going to fix it. I think it's kind of, I don't know. I guess if you say that though, you imply maybe some laziness or something like that, but I don't know. But at the same time, from Pez Radar's perspective, or from Play Dabbers Cat in his favor, I think that he's right in the sense that like, okay, well, enjoy this new way of playing the game. That's what we want to deliver you.
Yeah,
season after season is a different way to play.
I'm with that. I do. So that's kind of the other side. The other side is like, listen, man, it's only going to be here for 3 months. We got 3 months to play the game this way, and then cool, then it's gone, and we don't have to do it again ever, or until it rolls around again as a seasonal theme in a year or a year and a half or however long that is. And I'm okay with that. I kind of agree. Like, hey, this new exploit, I shouldn't even call it an exploit, because they said it's working as intended. So right. I don't know what to call it. We'll say manipulation. We'll say this new manipulation is okay, and enjoy it while we have it. But it does screw things up, man, because now you're doing much higher rifts than most people would probably achieve without it. And do we care though? I don't know, man. I don't know.
My only thing with that, with like I totally agree with Pez. It was like, yeah, it's cool that we have, we're playing a different way, and which I think is a great goal to have season after season. However, I think that we had great ways to play, and it's unfortunate that we're being forced into this new gimmicky seasonal thing, because we had new XP meta, which people were loving. We ultimately would have definitely had a new 4-man push style. We probably would have had Poison Scythe as like the everything, and then like 3 supports or something, or gosh, who knows now. I think it's unfortunate that we don't get to see what these changes would have really done, since we're just playing around the seasonal theme. So I think that, I agree, seasons will change after season, but it's unfortunate we don't get to experience like what really was good in this patch, which is the changes.
Yeah. So I haven't used the new seasonal mechanic in the intent of clearing higher greater rifts. I haven't manipulated it much, just enough to see how it worked and to make sure that I understood how it worked. But since it's only going to be a thing this season, and since it's confirmed that it's working as intended, it's like, okay, embrace it is kind of the way. Like, it's not going away. If you don't like it, that's cool. Nobody's forcing you to play. And if you do like it, then try it out and have some fun with it. And in 3 weeks or 3 months, it'll go away. And then you can play next season however we want. So I'm not super against it, but going back all the way to the beginning with the forums being like super anti this seasonal theme, if you had the choice to say, okay, let's turn it off. Well, I guess that kind of goes back into the poll. I don't know if we want to hit it up, but
no, it's fine. Let's go.
Would you turn it off? Would you?
Here's the thing.
Would you get rid of it?
You can't, because people have already benefited from it.
Mm-hmm.
So canceling it now will just create that permanent like gap. I mean, the gap's always going to be there, but it's just, you can't. You'd have to like reset Paragon too, and
here's the thing. People like, that's no, not really. It doesn't. Well, I literally have friends messaging me like, "What are you doing?" I'm living in 150s. Like, what do you mean? They're like, dude, we're doing the seasonal theme, and we're farming them in 9 to 10 minutes every time. I've been doing it for like 4 days straight. That's all I've been doing, and they got almost full 150 augs.
Right.
And it's like, if you reset the seasonal theme, that person still got his 150 augs. He's still got
crazy Paragon.
His crazy Paragon. So it's like you're saying. Yeah, I agree. It just makes a gap.
Yeah.
I really hope that I'm okay with the theme. It's performance issues for me. Like, they need to really figure out a way to make God DH playable. They need to figure out a way to make area damage not break the game for all those specs, all the builds. Because if you're playing a ZDPS and you have area damage and you lag the party out, if you're last season's push meta, if you're playing, your typical Mundanugo, RGK Crusader, Z-Barb, Z-Monk, and the Crusader started throwing his pillars down in the middle of your trash piles, it broke the game. Like there somehow some performance issues need to get looked at. And I don't know if that's new hardware. I don't know if it's like just the code, if it's nerfing damage across the board to where the servers can actually calculate it. But it's really sucks to try to play the game and then be rubber banding all over the screen. And if the seasonal theme is contributing to that, then I would be like, nerf the visuals, nerf something, make it not kill my game. That's less enjoyable for me, is to have performance issues than the actual seasonal theme play style changes. It's like, I hate rubber banding all over the screen. It makes me go nutty. It bothers me in a way I don't even know why, but it does.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I think that, going forward, obviously we've talked about this before, but, next season I think will be a big, kind of exposure of what we can expect in the future of Diablo 3, like we said, depending on what we get. But I would love to see, like, finally a seasonal theme that isn't necessarily meant to increase your power. Like, I would love a seasonal theme that's like,
limit your power, Paragon cap, baby.
Yeah, cap, or like something that adds depth to the game. Like, a currency item would add way more depth to the game than any of these seasonal themes.
Like so an example would be like socket a ring, socket a necklace.
Yeah, Grimaldi's for jewelry. I think that would add more depth than any of these.
It could also carry over into non-season when that expires.
Yep.
You're adding content to the base game.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And I think make them super rare and grindy and time dumps.
One of the biggest maybe easy win. I don't know how hard it would be to code a gift that adds a socket to jewelry or amulets, but
that's what it originally did. So just re-enable that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either, but that would seem like a really easy win and kind of OP, and people would probably embrace that. I feel pretty well. Mm-hmm. So.
Or just other, like all these other currency items that we kind of been begging for since the dawn of time, primal dust or other things. There's a ton of things that, we could sit here and think about, like be able to keep something when you reforge or.
Yeah, primal dust would be amazing. I can't tell you. I've gotten 3 primals that are main build for the god DH this season, and all of them have been horrible rolls. And it breaks you, man. You're just like, oh my god, like why did it have to be this? So it sucks. That's kind of it. So if you look, did you want to talk about leaderboard stuff a little bit too? Or
we could give a quick update for maybe those that aren't super following. So obviously 4-man's, they're farming in minutes, 5:44 top time right now. Bar was obviously able to take great advantage of the seasonal theme as a whirlwind. So they're at a 138. Crusaders still really strong, also 138, which is crazy. Like, pretty common theme here. Demon Hunters, everyone's all over Demon Hunter, but they're at a 142 already. Monk, 133, not surprising. Necromancer, we're at a 138 as well. Pog, Poison Scythe. Witch Doctor actually at a 139, and then finally Wizard, 130.
The gap seems closer this season than in past seasons. Wizard's the only outlier, and it's so unfortunate that the Hydra set is still booty.
Monkey and Wizard.
Yeah. I wish that they would. Well, they probably will. I would imagine that's going to be if it's not 22, then season 23. I would imagine Wizard's going to get some love, and I hope that Hydra set is one of the main sets they focus on to get it right. So,
what else would you like to say? The rumors are true, and season 22 is going to be like a big balance patch, maybe. Mm-hmm. Is there one thing in particular that you would love to see as part of that?
Is there? What would I like to see get rebalanced in the big patch?
Yeah. What would you like to see to make a comeback? What would you like to see get some light that's never really maybe gotten some light?
Like, I know this is kind of shitty to say because DH just got some love, but man, Natalia's, dude. Mm-hmm. Like, Natalia's is kind of one of my favorite low-key sets, but it hasn't been good since I've really played it. There was one season, I think, maybe where it was okay, or one before seasons were around where it was good. So Natalia's is kind of on my list, but it really depends on how they work it. Like, other than that, I think, man, it's kind of I don't know. I like Veers, but I hated the reverse Archon set. I didn't like the way that ended up working out because of items. I don't know. What about you? Do you have something that you really want? Let me think about the other sets historically that I've played, and I'm like, man, I really like that.
I mean, for the Necro, obviously, examining 4 pieces across the board. I think that the new set showed how tanky the Necro can be kind of out of the box. And it's just weird that this one's like doubly tanky than every other one. So like maybe make the other ones doubly tanky as well. Make them more in line with Legacy of Dreams. Legacy of Dreams is just better.
Yeah.
As a Necro. So every set just feels like a starter set to get LOE. Yeah. So I'd love to see that somehow resolved. There's some quick wins in there too. Like, I think
Exploding Palm is always fun.
Oh yeah.
Like Exploding Palm was so gratifying when you saw just an entire hallway of trash just get blown up or a big pack. I think Exploding Palm has a place in the game. I think it would be really good in 4-man metas. I think if you could somehow find a way to use Exploding Palm as the trash clear, I think that would be really good. And so for a balance patch for me, you're asking like, specific sets, but I would more want to focus on getting every class have some role inside of the 4-man meta, so it didn't matter. You don't have to have specific things. Like obviously there's some that are going to be a little more efficient, but let's say if Demon Hunter can RGK and Crusader can RGK and Necro can RGK, all right, cool. They're included in a 4-man meta. And then you could have Witch Doctor be trash clear. Let's say you get Monk as trash clear. Monk's obviously going to be ZDH. And so like just work out these things where there's a speed meta with every class and there's a push meta with every class. Because I think those, for me, are personally a lot of fun. Now, I know a lot of people don't like group play. So for them, they're like, I don't give a shit. I don't want to see that. So then you can start to focus on individual, like reworking one set from every class or maybe one or two items that will change the way things play. But
yeah, I think
I would definitely love to see that.
That was the one cool thing about this season is the XP. Like you could go with ZDH as a Z Necro. You could go with the God DH. You could go with the Z Barb. Having 4 builds possible in the XP meta was cool. It's unfortunate 2 of them are still DHs.
Yeah,
and one of them is still the Barb that from that we've been playing. And the Z-Neck, it's basically the same build, maybe little tweaks here and there, but it feels the same.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's definitely cool. I think more than anything, even maybe more than the 4-man meta push build altering from season to season, I think it's more important to have the XP meta shift. Because that's where you're playing 24/7.
Yeah. Or at least that's what it feels like the majority of us are playing 24/7. And I agree. Like it was so much fun for me last season to switch to Mundanugos because I hadn't played Witch Doctor very much. And that was a brand new style of 4-man push meta. And it was, you could even grind the 130s, the 140s pretty efficiently to get XP. And it was fun, man. That was like one of the most funs I had in group play. And then you go back to this season and it's like, okay, now we got the God DH, which is fun. It's fun for a little bit to try it out. I think that carries harder than the actual individual sets, like you're saying. So I think getting rid of rats was so huge. It was such a good thing. As much as rats were fun, man. Rats were a great time in season 11 and season 12 or 13 or whenever they started. But after doing it for 2 years, it's like I poke my eyes out. I don't want to do it anymore. Even though it's ultimately probably one of my favorite runs ever. Like it was a ton of fun when it first came out.
Clean. It's like I feel like it's one of the first clean XP metas we've had. Where
it felt like this is the way it should be done.
Yeah.
Like this is meant to smoke, and it really did. It was good. But I also had a lot of fun playing the Whirlwind Bar meta. The one season that was a thing,
very true.
I've had fun. Even though I don't feel like this God DH speed meta is really as efficient as other metas you could run, we've been doing it because it's fun. So I think that's the big thing. And it's like, what can they throw in next season besides what we've done? Like, give us the new XP meta. That's really cool. I agree, 100%. So
yeah, it'd be really weird for them to like nerf anything after the season. I feel like because we didn't really get to appreciate anything in its like normal state. Like everything's kind of getting carried by the seasonal theme. So it'd be weird. I feel like going forward for anything to get nerfed in next season. What do you think?
I think it'd be hard to get a judge on what they should. I hope they don't. I don't know. You can't tell because you're not sure. Like how good can the Poison Scythe Necro clear RG?
I mean, now you could tell, I guess, but
I mean, I guess in season you could too if you didn't cheese the theme. Right. Like you don't have to do the mechanics, But how good would it actually push? I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to say.
Yeah, I mean, I was at a 126 with 1300, and I wasn't using seasonal theme because it didn't work for me yet. Like it didn't proc off pets. So yeah, that's pure Poison Scythe.
Yeah, I mean, God DH is the same. Like I said, I did the 123 on a single key that wasn't a GG Rift, and I was 1200 Paragon-ish, 1100, something like that. I easily could have pushed that up. So it's a strong set too. I don't think it's stronger than Crusader still.
Mm-mm.
Like that, the Crusader set's pretty good, and they've nerfed it twice even.
Nunugo's still good, and they've nerfed
And
it.
Mundanugo's still good, and they just hit it a little bit this season. So, I'm not a fan of nerfing things personally. Like, I think that we should, reset damage a little bit to give us something to strive for. Because I don't think pushing the 150s is super good for the community.
Yeah.
Like, I personally don't care that much, but I don't think it's good for the community. I think there needs to be a carrot that's unobtainable. That way, there's something to strive for. But I think if they lowered everything globally down like 20 rift levels and then balanced around that, I think that would be a good thing. But I'm not big on the nerf, so I hope they don't nerf much. I hope that they rebalance and shift things.
Yeah.
And it's okay to have broken stuff. Like it's cool that Poison Sight's broken this season, right?
Totally.
Like, do you care? Like, not really.
Yeah.
It's cool that God DH is a brand new set and it's fun and it's a little OP. Like, who cares? Hydra Wizard came out last season. It was a new set. It was underwhelming and nobody gave a damn. Nobody played it. Nobody cared because it was underwhelming. And so that ruined the set. Like, have you played the new Hydra set on live servers?
I have not played the Hydra set once.
I have not played the Hydra set once either. You know what I'm saying? That's my point. That's my whole point. Is like, I played it on PTR and it was like, I was like, this kind of sucks, man. Like, this isn't good enough to make me want to play it. And the reason I haven't played it is because it's not the best of the Wizard sets. And it's like, okay, well, if I'm going to play Wizard, I'm going to play the best set. And if I'm going to play the best set, it's not Hydra. So why am I playing Wizard? I'm going to play one of the new sets. I'm going to play a class that got a new set. So I don't know.
Yeah.
So no, don't nerf the new things, man. Leave the new things good, at least for their inaugural season. Yeah. They need to be good, and then you can do like Crusader, man. Crusader came out and it was super OP, and then they nerfed it the next season, and then it was still super OP, so they nerfed it again, and now it's like pretty close in line with what they want. So, but they'll probably maybe consider hitting it again, and that's how I think they should balance stuff in the future.
I think it'd be a smart play, since next season will be the first season that we start with the new sets, is to make sure, that Barb Frenzy set maybe gets a little love. The Hydra Wizard set maybe gets, a little love. And maybe the new Necro set also could definitely use some love. So hopefully they get them all figured out.
Yeah.
Since they start with them next season. So
yeah, I hope so. Do you want to see the new Necro set just get damage buffs, or you want to see it get reworked a little bit?
I think that, not having Bone Spirit on the set in some form is kind of like, I feel, again, it's always been that for me, it's just missing like an objective. It's missing a goal. It's missing a purpose. It's just spam, spear right now. And I think that is very dull. So I think the Bone Spirit's a good opportunity of a spell, since it's not utilized anywhere, to include that somehow and maybe have that be the objective. I would love to see that happen. I don't think they need to rework much about it, but we'll see.
Just give it a little love. Yeah. I haven't played it very much. I played it in PTR for a couple evenings, but I haven't played it in its final form to see exactly like what it feels like on a live server.
It's very consistent. Like it's been overwhelmingly like positive. Like people are finally able, like Necro Squish. We're a very Squish class. So just jumping into that build in particular of all the Necro sets is very consistent. It's very smooth. It might not be the most damage. It doesn't do as much damage as like Pestilence, but you'd certainly survive 10 times better, So
yeah, that's something. If you switch from a tankier character, like let's say Barb or Crusader, and you go to something like Necro by far is the squishiest of all. But DH, when you're playing God DH, I even notice like, man, sometimes I just get one shot by things. I'm like, what? Come on, and it's one of those things where it's a little on the squishy side. So that's probably the most common complaint I get about Necro is like, how do you stay alive when you play it? And I'm like, you just learn to not ever touch anything bad.
Just don't die.
You just don't die. You just don't get hit. Is basically like, how do you not die? Just don't get hit. So. But then when you switch off of that, you get used to playing it, and you switch off to a tankier class. You're like, oh man.
That's why I never switch.
I can watch Netflix while I play this because I can stand in anything, so.
Yep. But I saw this other post.
Okay, is this Diablo stuff still?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it kind of took me down memory lane, and I wanted to walk down that lane with you and see what your reactions were as well. So this post on Reddit, Vanilla Diablo 3. Do you remember? Okay. In no particular order before patch 2.0, Reaper Souls pre-patch. Do you remember the following? Obtaining 5 stacks of Nephilim Valor before doing anything. Then recall the stacks falling off whenever you change a skill or accidentally moving a skill.
Yeah. So I definitely remember getting the 5 stacks and how much it sucked. I do remember having the stacks of Nephilim Valor about to fall off and starting to panic and be like, oh my God, I had to find an elite to kill to keep the stacks going. I don't remember accidentally changing skills and losing them, but definitely remember that. And it was a horrible thing. And to add to that, it's still a fucking thing on console. And I don't know how the console development works, but dudes, if you really want to improve console quality of the game, you need to get rid of the Nephilim Valor buff and then retune with that missing, because it's horrible on console. You have to have it.
Yeah, they have more HP and
it breaks console for me. Honestly, the biggest reason I can't play console is because of that single mechanic being in the game. So get rid of it, dudes. If you guys only play console and you don't understand what you're missing, it sucks. Trust me.
Okay. Bullet point 2. Item levels for items, particularly Act 3 and 4 having the best chance to drop eye level 63 items.
I do remember farming a lot of Act 3. I don't specifically remember why now, but I know that at endgame Act 3 was the act. You just did the bridge of, what is it? Bridge of Cossack, or I don't remember the name. You just over and over and over and over and over and over.
63, bro. 63 base.
Just do it. Yep.
Paragons were added and maxed at 100. Each level added 3% magic find and 3% gold find.
Pog. I do remember that.
Do you remember what Paragon you were?
I actually maxed it.
You did?
Wow. I actually maxed the 100. Yeah.
Crazy. Magic find and its cap at 300%. And it basically was split across the group. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Too. Magic find used to be a thing. You used to magic find was a stat on gear that you wanted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You used to be like, oh shit, magic find.
Yep. We've talked about it 100 times, but magic find is a stat. I mean, I hate it. I hate it more than anything. POE still got it. I can't stand a stat that you can't it's not tangible.
Yeah, my thing is it's never really even explained this is a whole nother side tangent, but I hate when things are vaguely explained and why the mystery remains behind the scenes with the devs is to not explain it. And there's so many games where it's okay, so magic find, what is it going to do? Is it going to make me have a higher percent for item to drop? Higher quality of the item, meaning it's going to have better rolled stats or better item level if that's a thing, or in all these things. And there's never a clear-cut answer from the devs who write the fucking code. So I know exactly, okay, this is exactly what it does. In some games, it's even a secret. Examples would be, the stupid example is I've been playing NBA 2K20 with my son, and there's badges in the game that give you better shooting percentages. It's greater chance to hit long range shots. And that's all it says. It doesn't, and if you research it, you can't find the percentages. You can't find how much.
Yikes.
None of that is explained. And so people go out and they're I shot 4,000 jump shots to see exactly what it does. Yeah, but you don't know. Okay, so we're getting a community-based answer. Why don't the devs just say, yo, it's a flat 3% boost?
Sure.
Why is it a secret? All right. Side rant over.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I get it. Auction house, real money auction house. God damn, that was so much.
Listen, did you make money on that? Did you ever make any money on that?
I mean, honestly, probably not. I think I spent just as much as I earned.
I got an Immortal King's chess piece. perfectly rolled barb Immortal King's chess piece. I spent 3 days debating if I was going to equip it or not. And then I'm like, you know what? This is stupid. I'm just going to throw it on the auction house for max money, real money, and see. And if you guys don't know, max you could sell an item for was $255. Okay. I threw it up for $255. I sold it in 60 seconds. I was like, oh my God.
Hey,
I just need $255.
Some Colombian drug lord really appreciates that money laundering.
I know. I'm just like, yo, thanks, man. So it's crazy. And then so that was kind of like the start of it for me. I was like, oh shit, like I'm gonna do this. And so yeah, I made some money on the auction house. Yeah. It was interesting. So
Acts 2, 3, and 4 being nearly possible. Yep.
Yeah. I don't remember 3 and 4 being impossible, but damn, 2, man, Belial
on the final difficulty. Yeah, you couldn't progress. Like you literally could not.
For Inferno, for the highest level. Yeah, was Inferno what they called the max level back then?
Was it Inferno? I don't remember.
I think it was Inferno. I don't remember. Whatever the hardest difficulty was, I remember clearing I guess it wasn't a rift back then. Maybe it was just an act. I don't remember.
Yeah, it's an act.
I remember clearing something, like just maybe even a level at the highest difficulty, and then instantly bragging to my friends, yo, I did it. Like, check it out. And they were like, oh shit, man. And it took me like an hour. Like I'm like so tanky and no damage and just wheedling monsters away. It was difficult on the highest difficulty. I don't think many people hit that level. So, and I know there were people that were much faster than I was at it for sure.
Monsters being able to be kited to town. I don't know that I ever utilized.
Yeah, I didn't know about that one.
When attack speed on weapons and armors were reduced by 50%, some can roll up to 18% on a single item. I remember Echoing Fury. Like people were pog out for Echoing Fury.
Yeah. I think I sold them all in the auction
house. When pickup rates could be rolled 5 to 7 on a single item.
I don't remember it being that high, but I do remember the Witch Doctor had an item that had, was it 20 or 40? It was ridiculous, whatever it was. It was like the whole screen pickup on one item. Yeah.
Repair costs actually costing a lot of gold.
Yes. Yeah. I remember early in the game running out of gold and being like, oh shit, now what do? I can't even repair, and like had to equip different items and go farm some pots to repair and shit. Yeah. That sucked, actually, looking back at it.
When bosses would enrage or elites would regen health if not killed fast enough.
Or if you died.
Yeah.
If you wiped on them. Do you remember, and this this is the next one. Go ahead. This is the one that triggered me.
Invulnerable Minions. Yeah. So like,
do you remember this? Like I specifically can remember scenarios. So I remember being in Act 3, the level right before Asmodan. Not Asmodan. Poison Boy.
Gom.
Gom, yeah, thanks. I remember being right before Gom, and I went down and I was clearing, and then there's this pack of minions, and it was an elite with whatever ridiculous affixes, but he had minions and they were invulnerable, and the minions would literally just pound you to death, and you couldn't kite them or CC them or do anything, and it was impossible. It was literally like a reset. We had a hard reset. Maybe it was shielded, like maybe he was shielded and the minions were shielded also, or invulnerable, whatever it was. A future patch not too long after it, they said like those two combos couldn't be added to a minion or to an elite anymore, or a champion pack.
Yeah.
But I remember getting farmed by that for a long time.
Lifesteal on weapons. Yeah. That was insane. You just get like 1-2% lifesteal on a two-hand.
That's how I killed Belial. Yeah.
What was that?
Spend
Axe. Was it Reaver?
Yeah,
no.
It was a mighty weapon, I think, wasn't it? I think I had like 2 mighty weapons or something, and just
Scorn. Yeah, you just get lifesteal on like a Scorn and then pull like the whole zone.
I had I just remember it on Belial. Then originally I had a yellow weapon with lifesteal, and I would just spun to kill him.
So. When black weapons were best, I don't even know what that is.
I don't know what that is either.
Yeah. Monster power 0 through 10. I remember being like, yo, MP10, LFG.
Yeah, that's right. That was the highest difficulty, not Inferno. It was MP.
No,
Yeah.
Inferno was first, I think, and then they changed it to Monster Power or something like that.
Okay.
Or maybe vice versa. How a lot of yellow items were superior to legendary items. Yeah. The good old days, which I think Diablo should
Diablo 4 may
investigate.
copy that. Yeah.
How insane reflag damage was. Yeah. Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah. That was the thing, not even in vanilla though. That was the thing like up in like season 4, 5, 6, some seasons. Because I definitely remember pushing greater rifts and reflect killing myself on a wizard. I would like throw arcane orb out or something, and then reflect would come up, and I'm like, "Well, I'm dead." Like I could see the orb about to hit him. I'm like, "I'm dead," and I would kill myself.
Oh man, I remember this. When dyes are added, but certain colors were randomly sold from different vendors.
Yeah.
So you'd refarm.
You try to farm, just like log out of games to find the white dye or the black dye, the Inferno dye.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's how you had to You had to do it every time. Like you'd had to buy a bunch of blacks and then put them in your bank.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. When marquees were added to the game, how to find the plans from random monsters were extremely expensive to craft and looked completely different from today's look. Interesting.
Yeah, Googling where the mats would come from to craft certain items. And it's like, you need XYZ, and it's like, oh, he's in Act 2 level cave of this thing, and he's a rare spawn, so you had to keep farming it. Yeah.
How impossible it was to craft a decent Hellfire ring. Hellfire ring, man.
It'd still be hard if you used it.
Right. When brawls were added, that was a joke.
Yeah.
When you could only craft a single gem at a time. Oh man, that was a thing, wasn't it?
I don't remember that, but man, that sounds horrible. So let's go back to brawls. Did you remember the brawls? When they added it? I swear I killed a buddy and picked up a body part, and I know that's a Diablo 2 thing, but I swear I did it in Diablo 3. But I don't have the part in my stash, and I would have kept it forever. So I guess that must have been me like having flashbacks to D2.
It was a dream.
When you would cut their ear off or something. I swear that was in the game. Nobody else remembers it. It's like the Berenstein Bears thing, like where people remember it, but it never existed. I swear that used to get body parts in D3.
When you needed to level up followers.
No.
Don't remember that
either.
Okay. When there are several tiers of crafting materials depending on your level. Yep. When a wizard had critical mass passive. Yikes.
It's familiar, but I don't remember what it does. Do you remember it?
You don't remember the CM builds? Critical mass, dude?
Yeah, but I don't. I guess not, man. It sounds like I said, it sounds familiar, but
personified.
Yeah,
and
you
just like sit there and like on your screen, like every single ability was getting used.
I stopped playing wizard pretty quick. Like I started it for a little bit, and I'm like, this sucks, and then I went back to barb.
Yeah,
I didn't play Wiz very often in vanilla. So
when you needed to collect and buy health potions,
fuck yes, man.
Fuck, dude. Farming wretched mothers in the crypts for easier XP.
No, I don't think I did that either. Did you do it?
I think so. How hard it was to see or hear molten going off. I don't remember that.
I do too. Yeah, they changed the animation to like make it much more visible and noticeable. Yeah, I remember dying to that. It used to look like there was some skill that it looked just like. I don't remember if it was a demon hunter. I know it was Crusader had a skill that mimicked it a lot when ROS first hit. But yeah, I do remember Molten being like a bitch to see.
Yeah. When Manticore had 2 sockets.
Remember that too. That was the thing. That was the play.
When monks with the one with everything passive, you wanted to get the same single resist on every piece of gear. I thought that was like that for a very long time.
Yeah, I think that carried through. Yeah.
Vampiric on mobs. I remember that. Wizards with poison hydra. I do not remember that.
Not in vanilla for sure.
Yeah. Witcher doctors using zombie bears. I mean, was that really vanilla? There was no point past ROS that zombie bears was good.
Witch doctors existed prior to Mundo Nugos. I don't even think they were in the game. I didn't think that was the thing. So
yeah. And of course, Fire Bats is a fucking meta for so long.
Yeah, Fire Bats was okay-ish. I thought, looking back at it now, it may not have been, but at the time, I played it one season.
Yeah,
when it was the 4-man thing. Super squish. But
yeah, that
was a nice blast from the past.
Yeah. Woo. This game is, as much as we all want more out of it, man, it's come a long way, obviously.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
And then in POE news, there's not a ton. Okay. The really cool thing that happened this past week was Chris Wilson was on kind of like the new meta of POE podcast, which is called Bayclast.
Hey, we're the POE. We're the new meta of everything.
We're the new meta. Yeah, okay. Sure.
Come on.
But yeah, so he just came on the podcast, which was really cool. So it's like, Rise and
wait, did you reach out to him and like, you want to do the new meta?
No, not yet. Soon. Yeah.
Listen, get on that. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, it was obviously, anytime hearing Chris Wilson talk about anything, it's super interesting and to hear his perspectives. One thing that I really hung on to is he did say the SSF was a superior gameplay. So I was like, wow, my boy Chris, dude. But yeah, it was interesting to hear perspectives. But outside of that, some kind of posts came up on Reddit that, like, this seasonal theme, the Harvest League, is it's pretty contested. Like, you either really love it or you seemingly really hate it. There doesn't seem to be like, it's okay. Yeah. And one of the things that people were talking about was that it seemed like the streamers were pretty disconnected from the community because it's easier than ever to make something that's pretty decent, and a lot of players love that, and streamers are like, no, like, it's way too fucking easy to make this like god tier, and there's that disconnect there, right? So especially I would think in the PoE community, because like it's so intense, the game of PoE, and Diablo 3, you're reminded pretty nonstop of how casual the overall community is.
Yeah.
By Reddit or the forums or questions on YouTube.
I'm laughing. Listen, I'm laughing because it instantly flashed. I every fucking day I play Diablo and I get a goblin pack or a goblin shrine. I always go, oh my god, I've never seen this before. Right. What is it? Right. Because those posts still exist on Reddit, and they still get crazy upvotes, and I don't understand it. I really don't.
Yeah. But it's interesting, I don't know. I didn't play enough Hardest to really form an opinion of my own. I did walk away from Harvest like being like, well, it was okay. But
so let's talk. Let's derail for a second. How's your? So you've kind of, you're out for the D3 season now. Are you kind of the same with PoE? Are you gonna go back to PoE? No, you think? I know you've been in Lost Ark a little bit.
I haven't killed Awakener 8 SSF, which is kind of like always my goal.
That's your thing. Okay, that's your dream. Okay.
On a completely brand new build that we created from scratch, right? Like, it's not like some meta cuck build. It's like a crazy out there build. So yeah, I mean, I haven't done that. So yeah, my plan is, I think this league, more than any other league in PoE, there's been a ton of bugs, and this league has progressively, added pretty big patches time after time. So I think playing late league is probably the good play of this particular league in general. But yeah, I mean, I plan to return to it. I want to kill Awakener 8, and I knew that, if we're getting into Lost Ark, I knew that Lost Ark reached that point, in our original experiment of Lost Ark, when we hit endgame in Korea and we were max level, we set a timer, and we did all the endgame content there is to do, which is, throttled by a daily limit. It's time gated, and there was about 2 to 3 hours of content to do every day. Now,
which is a lot for a casual-ish player.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm with you. As a streamer or somebody who's a hardcore gamer,
yeah, it kind of sucked.
2 hours is nothing. But as you're casual, working 9 to 5, got kids and a family, that's okay. But that's still on the light side. I'm with you.
Right. And then outside of that, you can grind Island Hearts and you can grind PvP. But being that we're 200 ping, PvP is not really an option. But I could definitely see that being an option. Obviously, if this was NA, we would probably just grind PvP when we're not doing that 2 to 3 hours of PvE content and increasing our power. But you can also do Island Hearts, and then Island Hearts is just, we've talked about it before, but it's just a system that you could love it maybe if you're into like discovery and ships.
I don't remember. Is that the boat thing where you're driving around on the boat? God, it's horrible, dude. It
And
shouldn't even be in the game, personally. But
they're
okay.
revamping it in this upcoming giant patch that so they just announced Japan, and Japan's in closed beta right now, and Japan has what they're calling season 2. I don't know why they call it season 2. It's literally
I saw that too.
It's an expansion. Like it's a full like big dick expansion. It's massive. And it's got like that island BR thing that we were talking about, and
What's our ping to Japan?
I don't know. I do not know.
I wonder if it's better than Russia.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't like geographically. I don't know like which one would be. I would imagine it's probably farther to Japan, but I don't know. Maybe we got better cabling.
Yeah, maybe
straight fiber all the way to the ocean. I don't know.
Yeah.
So they need. So I'm interested in Lost Ark. I check frequently just to see if there's any news on it coming to NA, or at least getting an official English patch. And I can't find any official statements on it still.
No.
Which
There's just
sucks,
one Facebook post that they basically just replied to someone. The company Smilegate replied to someone and said they're like, we're actively working on like a Western, but that's it. They didn't say
that
like
would be so badass.
Yeah.
Man, like I don't know.
Here's the thing, this is the other thing I got from the Bay class, and this was kind of disheartening because, when I went to ExileCon, it seemed to me, when they mentioned like, oh, we're gonna be in like a closed beta by the end of next year, I'm like, okay, wow, like this game is pretty far along. But as it turns out, no, it's still really far away. And so this whole time in my head, I'm like, oh yeah, like PoE 2, maybe we'll get beta in the next like year or whatever, and then like maybe it gets released like the year following, and then like the year after that, or maybe the year after that, we get Diablo 4. But now it's like they're kind of just planning on probably beating Diablo 4 to market, but it's still like that far away. Like Diablo 4 is obviously light years away. And PoE is not much closer, which was super surprising to me to hear, but also, makes me sad. So, I think, before I'd be like, well, they're just going to be competing against PoE 2 if they were to come like say next year or, quarter 4 next year, like, it's going to be like irrelevant. But now I think like definitely should do NA release because those games are coming for a while.
Yeah. Every game's pushed back now. I mean, they push back Cyberpunk again. Destiny just announced that they're pushing back their big release again, or I shouldn't say again. It's the first time for them, but PoE I think said that they pushed back PoE 2, right?
Mm-hmm. Closed beta was supposed to be this year, but
Diablo obviously never had a release date, so it's they keep saying that Shadowlands is going to hit, the WoW expansion is going to hit its target date of this year, which is like pretty loose, but hopefully
December
that happens.
31st. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly, right. But it's like most of these games, you had the Warcraft 3 remake that was supposed to come out, and it didn't hit its release date at all, and then it was really bad, poorly received when it hit. I think that's a new thing, is just to push things back. But circling back around, Cyberpunk has delayed. It was supposed to come out in like February or March, I can't remember, and it's now pushed back to November. And I honestly think they're going to push it back again because Cyberpunk is going to be a huge title, and it's going to also be next gen. It's going to be PS5 and Xbox Series X release. And if PlayStation is going to come out at the end of November 24th, or like right around Thanksgiving time is the planned, like 22nd or something is the planned release for PS4, and Cyberpunk going to come out on November 10th, that doesn't make sense. Like, why would you put it out and ruin it? I think they'll push it back to like the day before PS5 comes out, or actually on the date that PS5 comes out. And then I also, from what I've been hearing, is that World of Warcraft expansion is trying to time up with that release date for PS5 also. Do you think that's a good idea? Do you think they should drop a WoW expansion at the same time that PS5 comes? Do you think that would hurt them and being like, well, I'm going to play PS5, I don't care? Or you think it's going to be like, man, I was going to get PS5, but shit, now I got WoW expansion, so I'm not going to. I'm going to keep playing WoW.
Yeah, I think that, I would assume that it wouldn't affect it that much since it's a PC only game.
I hope it personally doesn't line up, because I plan on getting a PS5 and playing things on it, and it's like,
Huh.
hmm.
What like is there going to be a launch title?
We'll have to see what hits. I guess that's one of the biggest things. Is there a launch title that draws me in? You know, so as of right now, I do play NBA 2K20 with my son a lot. It's nothing that I'm ever going to stream. It's nothing that I talk about because it's sports ball, and you know how that goes on Twitch.
Yeah.
And B, it's like not really just, I don't know. It's just a completely different audience from what I normally do. So it's just kind of like a pastime thing that I do with my son. But yeah, so I think we would at least start with that. But we have to see. Cyberpunk is huge. I'm going to get that on PC though, because they're dropping it on PC.
Mm.
Halo, let's say Xbox drops in the same time. The new Halo game has got to be a launch title. If it's not, Microsoft is ridiculously slipping up.
Yeah.
If the new Xbox drops and Halo is only available on the new Xbox, wouldn't you buy it?
Yeah.
Exactly. But if it's available on PC, there's no way. You're not going to buy it you're not going to buy a new Xbox, right?
Depends. You know, I would foresee that PC would allow controllers and have controller support. So,
but you can keyboard and mouse is good. Just like you play Apex and all those other games on keys and mouse. Like it's not like you need the controller to be like. I think you're way above average on keyboard and mouse also. So
yeah, I don't know. I there, you know, the health of my hand kind of factors into this as well, because I can't really grind on keyboard and mouse. Like I start to lose feeling in my left hand, which is kind of weird. I don't know. I'd obviously rather play on PC and it just be mouse and keyboard. I don't like when they try to mix. I used to like it, but you know.
So you exclusive? You're like you want no controller support for PC?
Yeah.
Interesting. I don't think they would do that. I think there's too many people that need the controller. Like an example is like my son's a really good controller player, and he's can hardly play with keyboard and mouse because he hasn't done it. You know what I mean? But if a game comes out, he's going to use a controller and be probably better than most. But if he has to use keyboard and mouse, he would suck and probably quit playing.
Yeah,
you know?
For sure.
So
yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know what I would do. It also depends on like, I mean, I assume there's no universe where it doesn't run better on my PC, so I would probably rather play on PC.
Yeah,
and then wouldn't get the Xbox.
Same. That's the same. It's like, listen, is it going to hit 144 frames on PS5 or Xbox Sex? No, then I don't want it. You know what I mean? Like it's gonna hit 144 on my PC, I promise, if not higher. And you know, I have high refresh rate monitors, so if they can't support that, I'm really not that interested. So, yeah, I don't know, man. It's weird to have all these things lining up. It seems like a lot of things are lining up in November, and the only reason I can why are all these things getting pushed back to November? You got Destiny 2 pushed their big relaunch back to November. You got Cyberpunk pushed it back to November. WoW is talking about November, and it's like, well, it's because that's when PlayStation and Xbox are setting their launch dates. They're targeting November, and it's like, you know, all those titles are going to be on the new consoles. WoW won't be, but you know, Halo, I assume would be on there. And even like chat says, Spider-Man's going to be on the PS5. That game looked pretty dope. I'm not gonna lie. So, yeah.
But you know, as you said, you know, I've been revisiting Lost Ark recently. Yeah. The class I really been wanting to play, the Demonic, came out.
Tell me what is it? What's a demonic?
So demonic is like an assassin. So you start as an assassin and you branch into like blade or demonic. And blade focuses more on like daggers and, you know, quick attacks, mobility. And the demonic sort of like focuses on like you build up demonic power and then eventually you burst out and you become like a demon. And
so is this thing, you said it's an assassin. Are you sneaking around and like in stealth and assassinating people? Or are you just
more like a very attack.
Agile?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like a very agile.
Do more damage from behind kind of thing.
That's it. Yeah.
So yeah, it is really cool. You know, the skills are like more dark and stuff like that, which I always really enjoy. Loving obviously the class so far, the combat, you know. Honestly, it's crazy that I've never played a class in Lost Ark and been like, yeah, I don't like it. even like the classes I expected, like the guy with the guns, I expected to go into that class and be like, I'm not gonna like this, and I ended up like leveling it all the way to 50 because it was super fun.
Yeah.
So this one in particular is definitely my favorite so far.
Really?
So, rediscovering the end game, one of the things I noticed right away is, when I played in Korea, I think there's 2 tiers of raid bosses, and so there's like 4 in each tier. And now there's 7 tiers.
Wow.
Plus, like, there's like a weekly thing where you can fight multiple bosses at once, which I can't, like, that would be insane and really cool. And then there's like a weekly raid thing that I don't even know what that's about. So there's some new like end game there.
Are you translating it all? Or are you just like figuring it out?
No.
Yeah. And so are the translations any better? Last time I played, I translated and it was super broken at times. The abilities were mostly okay, but there was a lot of things like, especially like go here and do that, or to understand what the end game mechanics were or how they worked. It was like, this doesn't make sense. This is so broken. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
I think like the menus and the buttons and the skills, like those are all on point. Like they make complete sense. There's some demonic ones that don't, but demonic's like brand new, so like they're still translating. But yeah, like as far as like the story and the cutscenes, like none of that makes fucking any sense whatsoever.
I just make my own story up.
Yeah,
I'm like, okay, this is what's going on.
I skip cutscenes anyway, so I don't really care. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely as good as I could hope for it not being a NA official English game.
Yeah.
But yeah, silky smooth. They did add a new form of end game. It's called the Yasmund.
Okay.
I don't know why, if that's even a translation, but it's basically like a GR. And then you go into it solo, which is great because I love combat, and there was never anything to grind combat on in Lost Ark as a solo player. However, the way it plays is you literally pull the entire map, and it's like insane levels of density. Like if you got this level of density in Diablo 3, you would, the server would catch fire. And in Lost Ark, it's silky smooth on 200 ping. It's just insane how good their netcode is.
I can't even explain. It's like when I was playing on VPN with 150 to 200 ping, it felt like it was local. It was silky smooth the whole time.
It's crazy. And so there's that, and you can grind that out to get like, there's a new item slot that's like a bracer, and you can only get like you can only kind of craft and make it better by doing that content. So it gives you a reason to kind of grind on that. And it's fun. Like I said, like one of the big gaps for me in Lost Ark before was like, there's never anything that just kill things, like, which is the most fun thing you can do in Lost Ark, is just kill nonstop. And so that satiates that a little bit. It's a little like redundant, but it's good. It's something you can grind on. They revamped the tower so you can just do it as many times as you want. So it's more of like a challenge you have to overcome, which is good. And they reworked the cube. The cube was like, when I played it, the cube was like something you'd go in and you would like leave after you cleared the first floor just to get a little bit of gold. And now it's like an actual thing. You like try to get to you like progress through like 15 plus floors, and if you can do all of them with a group, you get like a platinum chest, and that platinum chest has like a bunch of gold and currency items and stuff in it. They still have the dailies. They got dailies and weekly quests, which are very rewarding. But the thing, after all of that, there's still like the island hearts, and I'm gonna have to guess you can't get to the last continent until you get like 20 island hearts. So like you're kind of forced into doing it. So I'm gonna have to do that at some point. But I really want to kind of understand it. It kills viewership, but I really want to understand the game because because there's 7 tiers now, and those raids, like I can't, like those are really fucking fun. And I know you haven't got to do those, and I would love if you would finish your character so we could like do those, because they're super fun.
We're on the same server, right?
I think so.
The one starts with the K, I think?
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think that particular, the Guardian raids, where it's like the Monster Hunter, you go in, your team has 3 lives. If you guys die, like not each of you, but the whole team has 3 lives. So that minute that 4th person dies, everybody gets kicked out, and you got to start all over again. It's like, which is great.
I've seen it. I've actually seen it, some gameplay of the raids, and it looked pretty cool. It used to be that you could clear the raids as many times as you wanted in a week, but you could only get loot from it
The first 3 times.
once or twice or three, yeah, something like that. But it was cool. That's a cool system, I guess. At least it didn't lock you out because let's say I've already done mine and you're like, man, I need some help with the raid real quick. Can you hop on? I'm like, yeah, sure. You know what I mean? We can go do some raid.
Totally.
So that's cool.
There is definitely the pay to win aspect.
Yeah.
It's very prevalent.
Yeah.
So that sucks. But I still want to understand the game is super fun.
We can let's derail a little and talk about pay to win. Because I experience this a lot. So like I said, I've been my son and I, my older son is he just turned 14, and he's a really good FPS player, and he's really into sports. Like that's his thing. Like he's a really good basketball player. He plays on a bunch of select teams throughout St. Louis. And and I played basketball in college a little bit. So we have that bond. We like basketball. So he's been playing 2K. He's been playing 2K for a long time. And finally he's like, hey, come play 2K with me. I'm like, all right. So we started playing. And I had a blast. It's a lot of fun. It's a $60 title. And in this $60 title, when you go into what they call the My Neighborhood, or the My Park is what a lot of people might know it as, you go into this place, and this is like the PvP. This is where you can go do 2-on-2 or 3-on-3 matches against other real people with a character that you create. And they have builds in the game, and the builds are actually pretty deep. And like there's a bunch of different ones, and you need to like look at calculators and theory craft and all this shit. And it's like super crazy deep for a sports game. I'm really impressed with what they've done with that. But you go in there, but you start off, and then you have to grind the currency to level your character up, or you can just buy it.
What?
Yeah. Or you can just buy it. Okay. And so it's a $60 title, and that drives me fucking crazy. And the currency is expensive. So in order to take a character and go from level 60, which is the worst you can be, to they don't let you go straight to 99 because there's other milestones that you have to earn in like by playing to get. But to max him out with the currency that's purchasable can take you all the way up to, I think, at 86. And then to get the rest of it, it's a little bit of a grind. Not crazy, but a little bit. It ends up costing you like $60. So basically it's $60 for the game, and then $60 per character if you want to max them out. And I think that's absolutely crazy. And that instantly makes me not want to play the game. But I played the game. I ground the currency legitimately. I didn't buy it. It took me a week and a half to grind the currency out. And it's fun, man. I have a really good time playing. But the pay to win ruins it, because anytime that the two of us go to try to play a game, it's all 99s everywhere you go, because people are just like, I'm going to buy it. I'm going to buy it. There's no matchmaking that puts you in a bracket with your own character skill level, because they want people to buy it. If you're only facing 99s, two things are going to happen. You're either going to quit, or you're going to pay money to get the currency to be OP, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine a lot of people are going to just sit there and grind it like I did or he did, when you can just go purchase it. So it's shitty, man. I don't know how I feel about it. I feel like pay to win is such a scumbag mechanic, but I guess the point I'm trying to make is you can still have a lot of fun even with the system like that. It feels bad because other people have paid to get their power, but even if you don't, I still have a blast playing the game.
Yeah.
And I think that's my take on Lost Ark from what I've experienced, is like I can still have a really good time, but the benefit, I guess, to 2K is that there's nothing that you can't get without spending money. You have to buy the game though. Lost Ark's free. So is there power in Lost Ark that you can only get if you pay money?
No, and it's interesting too, because it kind of plays on two different things. The Lost Ark shop, the cash shop stuff is like, you get an extra run of like a Guardian raid per day. You get an extra Chaos dungeon.
Did they ever translate the shop? So when I was playing Lost Ark and I was into it, I was like interested in purchasing some things, like some cosmetics. I wanted to support them because I thought their game was good, which is the biggest reason. But B, like I couldn't get translations for a lot of the things, and it seemed very bland. The Russian shop seemed very bland at first. It was like 2 horses and some ugly cosmetics, and I'm like, I'm scared to get my credit card stolen, so I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
Did they translate it fully?
Yeah, it's translated.
Okay, cool.
All the item descriptions make sense and stuff like that. Yeah, but so like it is that pay for advantage, which is definitely pay to win. But the weird thing about it, you know, at the end of the day, I get why people buy it because like you want to be ahead of everybody else. But ultimately, like you're gonna get to the finish line faster, and then it's
You're
like
getting to the same point. Yeah.
yeah, and it's like, well, now I have less content to do than my peers because like I kind of rushed through it as fast as I could.
Like I'm max level now. What do I do?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just bought max level now. How do I do it? Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I think you would probably want to rush it if you're a PvP fan, and I know that once this hits NA,
pay to skin makes so much sense. Like I'm okay with it for the most part. Like if you're paying $60 for a title, it does suck to have to also pay to cosmetic. But on a free to play game, I think POE nailed it. I think POE is completely just in all of it. And I see people bitch in POE about stash tabs. Like I have to buy stash tabs every season or something. Like, is that what the complaint is? I don't even understand what people are yelling out about a lot.
Recently, they've added new currency tabs that could have really been added to others, and so people are upset they have to buy new ones, and the new ones aren't even like good.
Yeah, so. And it's like that's okay. The game's free though. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to buy the tab usually. Like, you can throw it in your stuff. You know, in your generic tabs if you wanted to. I mean, I don't know. I don't have a lot of POE experience, but I feel like they did a good job. It's like, listen, you look pretty basic unless you buy some cosmetics. Okay. That's cool. What am I paying to play? Nothing. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I spent $40 on stash tabs and I have a shitload of stash tabs now. That's cool.
Yeah.
Like I got $40 worth of fun out of the game. So
totally.
You know,
I think, you know, the one thing that we say again and again that we love about the POE cash shop is like the skill effects, man. Like being able to make my meteor green is going to make me feel like I'm playing an entirely different class. Like really, it's like I went from doing like I'm like doing like a fire meteor. And it's like, well, I'm not really a wizard. I don't really like. I've never been into that. But like making it green's like now I'm like I don't know, like a reaper class or something that's like summoning like an undead meteor from the sky. It's just by making it green. Like, you know, like it's crazy.
Yeah, people are also commenting that the microtransactions are too expensive, and I kind of agree with that too. In every game, not just POE, but like $40 for a set of wings to me blows my fucking mind because I'm like I don't love the game that much. Like maybe if I love the game that much, but that's a lot of money for one single cosmetic. And it's like, okay, if the wings were $5, I might buy 2 or 3. And then I might hit that total of 20 or $30. But a single set that's $30 to $40, I don't know, man. Like it just doesn't. I feel like GGG has outpriced themselves, but they have to have crazy research on this to know. Like, yeah, people are willing to pay this. Like when we drop the price down, we don't get more sales. Right. So,
I think GGG just has like whales, and so they're just not afraid.
Like it's nutty. It's like I would rather spend a couple, like let's say that they had a cosmetic set that's pretty decent looking every season that's $5. Cool. I'll buy that every season. And then over the course of 2 or 3 leagues, I say seasons, I should say leagues, sorry. Every 2 or 3 leagues, I will have spent $30-$40 on the game instead of never spending money because they want $40 to $60 for a transmog set. And it's like, well, man, I'm not, you know, it's not worth for $60. I'd rather buy infinite stash space.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't think there's a limit to stash space. It doesn't seem like there is a limit to stash space. And I'm a pack rat, so I would just keep buying stash space.
Yeah,
but we totally lost Ark. So are you having fun with the new class? How does the combo timers and stuff feel on that? I've only played one class really, and it was so much fun.
Yeah, I mean, it feels good. You know, making a build and just, I mean, I really like how it plays, and I just, you know, it was so weird. Like today, I played some Diablo 3 before the stream, and going from Lost Ark back to Diablo 3, and like taking unavoidable damage, and like never even having the opportunity to like, you know, outplay it. Basically, it's so bizarre. But yeah, I mean, the new class is amazing, and I mean, I'm having a great time so far. And so we'll see how that progresses. I do, again, like I just want to like progress through the end game because I know that it gets harder, like a lot harder, and maybe even harder to like progress. And then maybe I'll get like an insight into like, oh, how required is this cash shop, and really have like a full scale. Because I don't think, I'm in the T1, in the middle of T1. I'm the third boss in T1 already after like a week, and I've played my face off. So, that's still like not that far if there's 7 tiers, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. How long did you say it took you to get to max level? Like just to hit the milestone of 50? I think it's 50, right?
I kind of like with this character, I wanted it to be like my main because I knew this was the class I was kind of waiting for. So I did like every single quest. So it took like
I'm not trying to like boast on it. I just want to know like gameplay wise.
So for me,
because as a brand new player, it took me a while to get like I don't even know if I think I'm like 49 or 48 and like max is 50. Like I'm right there. I just stopped playing for no real unknown reason. But it took a while because I'm trying. At first, I was trying to read the story and get a grasp, and then I realized that the translation was so broken it didn't matter.
Right.
And to figure out how it played, but I'm just curious, like if you're like, okay, new character time, is it gonna take you a couple hours? Is it gonna take you a couple days?
Sure.
I would say,
Yeah. And then the weird thing about Last Ark too is like, so once you hit 50, you're not done with the campaign. Like you still have to do the whole thing to like unlock your dailies and all that stuff. So even when you're done, it's like you probably have another day of just doing the campaign, even though you're max level.
Yeah. So. It's a good game, man. I really wish it would come over, or they would just stop blocking US IPs so I didn't have to VPN. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but we'd still have to have crazy effing lag.
Yeah, the lag would still be there, but at least I'm not having to pay a subscription to a VPN service to get the best possible lag I can, And
that's the other thing too, is like, people always ask me, well, what if this does come to NA? Like, are you kind of burning yourself out for when it does come to NA? Because I'm playing it like
There's so many characters, dude.
Yeah, there's so many characters, but on top of that, like, when this comes to NA, it's going to be a PvP fest. And like, I don't even touch it really on the Russian servers because it's just like it's a mess. But
that would be the exciting thing to me. If it came in NA, I'd be like, fluff, we're fucking PvPing like all weekend, dude. Like that's all we're doing. You know what I mean? We're getting a team and we're gonna PvP the entire weekend.
Yeah.
Provided that it's fun, which I think it looks fun, So looks phenomenal. That's why, man, I get so much hate for wanting PvP in Diablo 4. I literally get backlash on that quite a bit.
Not the BR thing, but PvP?
Everything in general. But yeah, PvP. I get backlash in streams when I start talking about it. People saying that it shouldn't exist. It shouldn't be in Diablo 4. Game doesn't need it. It's going to ruin the game. It pulls away dev time. Like there's just, a whole bunch of reasonings. Like, those devs could be working on PvE content and they won't balance it and won't get it right. And I'm just like, that's endless content though. Like what you do, if they do PvP properly and they make it fun, the game never gets stale. It's constantly gonna be, there's something to do. There's a thing to go in and blast,
Yeah.
So, but it doesn't have to. Like the BR idea should be in there. You could do battleground style from World of Warcraft, capture the flag things or scenarios. I don't know how it would play out in an ARPG, but we could, obviously test things. Open world PvP could be a thing. There could be, world PvP goals or zones or conquests or,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. There's so many things that they could pull off. So.
Yeah.
I think that's it. Oh, we were talking about Path of Exile, and did we talk about the Harvest League numbers dropping? Like, was that a thing that did we talk about that already?
No. Do I still have it up? I don't think I still have it up. But yeah, so basically, there's a pretty big drop off. Like, this is all based on Steam, right? So
yeah,
POE has its own client, but you can also download POE through Steam, which a lot of people do. I prefer to just use the client because
I do too. I use POE's direct client.
But yeah, so like more this league than any other league in the past, there's been a pretty big drop off of players past the first week. So there's like using that as an indication to express the popularity of this league versus leagues past. So.
Yeah, so Harvest is this league. Last league was Delirium, right?
Yep.
Okay, and then before that was Legion. or Metamorph?
Metamorph.
Okay. And then Legion.
Then all the Blight was before Metamorph, and then Legion.
And then Legion. Okay. So if you look at those numbers, like I have the numbers pulled up.
Yeah.
Harvest had the second biggest peak launch too, though.
Right. I mean,
So
PvP's
you
getting
obviously
bigger and
had,
bigger every league.
yeah, you obviously had a lot of new players coming in and checking it out. And if you look, for example, if you look at the weekend after Harvest, it had 81,000 people. But like Blight only had 54 or 75 at its peak. Legion still had a good peak. I guess some of them other had a good peak, but yeah.
Yeah.
Delirium retained quite a bit. It had a big drop, but it still retained quite a bit.
Totally.
Or had a big player base. It's interesting to see those numbers though. If you look at the from the bottom to the top, how every single league has grown, man. It's just gone up and up.
Yep.
Except for Delve, man. People hated Delve, I guess.
Delve is like the best league of all time. It's crazy.
I know, right? But it retained a good margin. So.
Mm-hmm. It's weird to me too. I think we touched on this a couple weeks ago, but hearing Ziz, and he was like, "Oh, they should never have rolled over the past like 5 leagues."
Yeah.
And it's like,
and I don't agree with that at all.
Yeah,
I don't
for
play
me, it's
POE
like,
much.
I wouldn't even be playing if it weren't for the past 5 leagues.
Yeah, delving is my favorite thing in the game at this point because I haven't done a lot. So as a new player coming in, delving was fun to me. I was like, ooh, I like this mechanic. I understand how it works. I can go in. Got to stay close to my cart. I got to upgrade my cart. Got to upgrade my light. I want to go deeper. I want to see what's down there. Like, is the loot, like the whole thing to me was like, oh, this is cool. My power goes up. I can go deeper. I can upgrade my cart more. I get more loot. The process just continues, and it was fun. The only thing about delving I didn't like is having to get sulfite to actually like power the cart. I think that kind of sucked. If me personally, I'd be like, can you just take that out and let us just run the cart and then till we die? Know, I don't know. So I don't know some other way, but it was fun to me to play. So that's I guess it, man. You want to hit some Twitter questions real quick? You got anything else you want to talk about? No. Oh, you want to do Fluff hates, ThaPChild loves? I got love this week.
Okay. Go ahead and I'll easily think of something I hate.
Okay. So my love is I think the Diablo community in general, man. Like, so this last week's been kind of shitty. It's been a shitty week for me personally. I've had so many people reach out to me and just like from the Diablo community and from my community and just be like, yo, P, what's up, man? If you need something, let me know, blah, blah, blah. But even specifically, like I'm gonna call out the new Diablo community managers, man. Both of the community managers are like, yo, man, hope everything's good. Let me know if you need something, blah, 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 reaching out. And I just think that that's super awesome. And that's, and in general, I think that Diablo has one of the best communities out there. I'm just giving love back to the community, man. Cause there's so many games I play where people are just toxic AF all the time. And it's been pretty cool. It's been nice to get, to have so many people be like, yo,
you know what you should have done when Paz is like, hey man, if there's anything I can do, let me know. You'd be like, what would really just patch things, just mend my heart. Just a couple BlizzCon tickets for 2021.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know. That would just really,
that would make everything so much better.
All the pain fade away.
Yeah. Oh man. Those guys are cool. I think that they enjoy our show, and I think we'll hopefully be on the end this time around. You know what I mean? Like,
we'll see, man. We'll see. You never know.
I don't know. We'll see if we even have another BlizzCon ever.
Yeah.
We could be corona'd for like the next 20 years. Who knows?
Or you'll have to take some job in another country.
I know. Yeah. Right? I'm gonna apply for every Blizzard job on the planet. I'm just gonna be like apply.
There's our end. Like
yeah. I'd have to quit streaming and doing the podcast, right?
I don't think you have to quit. You just can't talk about work, and you can't compete in the leaderboard and stuff like that. I think. Not that you ever do. But
get out of here! On the leaderboard every season. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what you could do.
Yeah.
If you could still do it. I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe I just had to, you couldn't. So listen, you couldn't if you're the Diablo 3 community manager, like you couldn't see Pez over there grinding, like streaming POE. I don't think that would be a good PR move for him. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't think, like, even though it's not Blizzard related, Pez couldn't just be like, yo guys, come check out the stream. We're gonna grind harvest. Like, I think that would be like, damn, bro. Like, you can't do that shit. You'd have to be like, yo, I'm playing Fortnite. Let's go build a fortress, or I don't know. I don't know, man.
Yeah. I would also think like being a community manager for, X game, especially something as popular as Diablo. I didn't get to stop in a ton of like Brandy streams, but I would think they would just get like not necessarily harassed, but just like, they're playing
Yeah, I checked out some of her streams
like,
a couple
next
times.
Patch and
she didn't get harassed hardly at all.
Really?
It was yeah, at least not the ones that I was around, but I was kind of surprised too. I kind of assumed that she would get harassed about it. But it was a cool thing, man. So that's my loves. What did you hate this week? Anything that you were like, listen? Oh, and to kind of add to that, so Filthy Rich. I mean, some of the hot tub spa treatment. You know what I mean? You're talking about anything I can do for you. What? I keep laughing about the hot tub or the
hot yoga.
Hot yoga, yeah. Hot yoga, hot sauna. Hot sauna treatment. So I got to definitely give him shit about that forever. So
yeah, it was great. Yeah, I guess Fluff hates. So I went to Myrtle Beach. That's where I was last week. And it's just crazy. Like, we know that, Myrtle Beach is a hot spot for Corona right now. But like seeing it firsthand, how just like no one fucking gives a shit. Like everyone's walking around, no fucking mask. Like we were kind of fortunate. Like I had rented a scooters, and so like we were able to kind of like drive down, but like super far away from everyone on both sides of the streets. But the side of the streets were just like packed full of people.
Yeah.
And so we're just like riding around on scooters with our masks on. Like no one has a mask.
Like electric scooters or like push scooters with your feet?
No, like gas powered.
Okay. Yeah, scooter. I'm just making sure like you're on a real scooter.
It's a scooter.
Well, I'm thinking like the kids have like the little silver things that they,
Well, I mean, this is street legal scooter.
Okay, I'm with you.
But yeah, it's just crazy to see like it's no one fucking gives a shit. And
no. So like here's the fucked up part. Like where I live at, I'm in the suburbs in St. Louis, not really St. Louis City, but in the surrounding counties, and it's insane, dude. Like there were so many people at Walmart, like there was a line to get in. Like they had stopped people from entering. And then they literally had to like put a sign up that says you cannot be permitted unless you have a mask on. And if they don't have one, they'll give you one. And then people are out there like protesting and bitching about having to wear a mask. And there's a line that goes like all the way around the building. And these people are just like lined up next to each other. It's like fucking nobody cares. Like they just don't, I'm like, okay. I get that you need to go buy stuff. And I get like, listen, this is a gaming podcast, but if you're not going to wear the mask, you can't bitch about not getting entered into the store if they want you to wear the mask. Like it's their store, their rules. If you don't like their rules, go shop somewhere else. It's kind of like how I look at it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, okay.
But it's their right to be an asshole.
It's crazy to me, man. And like I'm doing pickup orders. I'm like, listen, if you don't want to go inside and wear the mask, do a pickup order. That's what I'm doing. Like I'm pulling my car up into a parking spot. They're bringing the shit out to me and putting it in the back of my car, and I'm driving away. I'm never even getting out of my car. Yeah. So this is the same Walmart. It's not like you don't have that option because you clearly have that option. I have the option, so do you. So it's nutty, man. But people don't care.
Yeah. People having like the Corona parties. Like what? Why is this thing?
Yeah, it's nuts, man. It's nutty. It's crazy.
Yeah,
I had a family member that has like a family member's boyfriend. So like it's a cousin's boyfriend. You know what I mean? Somebody that I'm not affiliated with ever. had like symptoms and like refused to go get tested. And I'm like, listen, man, like you're not like the family members, you're not invited to any of my stuff. Like we were having a thing, like we were going to do a birthday party thing for my kids. I'm like, you can't come. And they're like, why? And they were pissed. They were mad at me. I'm like, why? I'm like, because your boyfriend's got symptoms of corona and you're around this dude 24/7. Like, and he won't go get tested. Like, you gotta, like, I'm sorry, man. I'm not trying to be mean to you, but like, I don't want it. I don't understand why you're mad about that.
Right.
So
yeah,
go away. I got people that are high risk in my family. Like, stay away. I don't need it. So
it's crazy. Like, time and time again, Corona's exposed just how much ignorance. I feel like more than normal, right? Like I feel like it's exposed just so much more ignorance than we would have normally gotten a dose of in a calendar year.
Yeah. And like even even if people think it's overhyped, like, oh, it's BS, the doctors are, they're using it to control people and whatever your conspiracy theories are, right? What does it hurt you to wear the fucking mask? Like you're okay. Like even if they're wrong, then you're smart for wearing it. And if they're right and they're controlling you, like, oh, they got you to wear a mask. Yeah, They won. You know what I mean?
Right.
Anyway, the first question, let's get into some Twitter questions.
Okay.
If you guys want to submit these questions, you can submit them at ThaPChild, at Lord Fluffy. You can tweet us. Those are our Twitter handles. Or join our Discords. That's the great way. We have Ask New Meta sections inside of our Discords where you can ask your questions in there. But the first one comes from Maester Magus, and he says, what do you think about having two themes, one major theme, like the elemental power, and one minor theme, like 2 times bounty mats? Would the free Rorg be a good secondary power for a season then?
I mean, like if we get Killstreak season combined with Rorg, it's just like, that's so much power.
So power, yeah. I don't think Rorg is a good secondary power. I think Rorg would have to be a primary power if you're going to break them up that way. Secondary would be double goblins, bounty mats.
Yeah.
Maybe double experience, but that's superpower too. I don't know if that's a power. It's just meh.
Yeah, I'm just over more power, I guess, at this point. Like I just want something creative or something we can grind on or to do.
Seasonal themes was cool when they introduced it. It was awesome because we hadn't had anything for a year. I think at this point, I'm kind of done with seasonal themes, if I'm being honest. I think that they should focus all of their energy into balance patches.
Yeah.
And completely ditch seasonal themes. Put the ones we already have on rotation because they're already done, right? Hopefully we don't have to spend dev time fixing those ones that are already there. And then put all of the manpower we do have into balances, bug fixes, performance issues, things like that, and get the game running good and get new sets and new play styles. Because that's what the game is anymore. Like we're not getting new end game. And the seasonal themes don't make new end game. So let's just do sets. Let's do powers. Let's do items. So that's my vote.
Yep.
Freaking Ray says, with episode 107, you talked about a job opening for Classic Server. What are your thoughts on the new NVIDIA A100 GPU? Would you like to see Blizzard use these? So I read a little article on these a couple weeks ago, in that it's supposed to be like the data center GPU that they're using. And I'm trying to find the benchmarks, but it was really, really ridiculous. If I know that you were going to ask this, I would have Googled ahead of time. So like theoretically, I don't know, man. It's like 4 times faster than current gen stuff that they have available or something crazy. And I'm just kind of making this up. It says 6 times higher out of the box performance than I guess current gen shit. So 6 times faster than what's currently available for server clusters and things. I don't know. You guys can do research if you're into that kind of hardware. I'm a huge hardware nut for consumer PCs. Server stuff is kind of, I'm never going to buy that, so I don't pay attention to it. But my guess is the performance issues we have with Diablo 3 are related to the way the game's coded, and probably has to do with utilizing multi-core CPUs or even GPU architectures, I would imagine that it doesn't handle that well because at the time in 2012 and probably 28 when they started developing it, you didn't have multi-core CPUs, really. It was mainly people had singles and maybe a dual. So, I don't know. But yes, I guess. Right, Fluff? Fluff's
Sure,
not
I
here.
mean,
Yeah, man. Get it. Eddie said since D3 is pretty much coded to be all about speed, surely they can make matte vacuum or let a pet do it. The new DH set is far too fast to stop and click all the time. Thoughts on auto loot pickup?
I'm just so over it. I mean, no. Like they've said it 100 times. They want it to feel clicky. I just don't. I don't get it. I guess at the end of the day, what are you gonna do then? Are you just gonna like pick up legendaries? I don't know. And people have been complaining about, like, I keep seeing post after post of like, oh, give us a pet that picks up Death's Breath, like make him auto pick up, and I don't know. Like, is that really gonna improve your gameplay experience? I'd rather them focus dev effort on like rebalancing items, shifting metas. I could care less.
If they added it, I wouldn't complain. I understand why it's not a good thing for the game, though. But I'm already at a point where I'm playing 2 or 3 weeks of the season anyways. So is that map? So like, do I skip Death Breath? Sometimes, yes. Like sometimes there's Death Breath on the edge of the screen, and I'm like, I'm not going back to pick it up. Most legendaries I will backtrack for if they're reasonable. You know what I mean? If it's not like a 2-minute walk to go get it, I'll usually go pick them up, especially early in the season because you never know if it could be ancient. I would honestly, instead of having them make the pets pick up stuff or making a vacuum pickup, I would rather them give ancient items their own map icon as well. That way I know if I need to go over and pick something up. Because primals, if you see a primal on the map, you're going to go get it. If you see an ancient on the map, I would be a lot more likely to go over there and get it versus just a star that's like 50 screens back. I'm like, well, hope that's not ancient because I'm not going back there to pick it up. So maybe I thought maybe a blue beam for ancients would be kind of cool too. I don't know.
Right.
I think that's too much. You think that's too much? Takes away the identification factor?
I don't know, man. Like, at the end of the day, they can do whatever they want, but where do you draw the line? It's like, well, I don't want to pick up stuff anymore. Okay, well, I don't want to have to farm keys anymore. So, like, I should just, like, my character should automatically run rifts. Like,
it's because we've been doing it for so long. Yeah. I think that's why we have that mindset, is because we've been doing the same thing for so long that we just like, man, can I just get what I want at this point? Like, can I, I just don't want to even I don't want to do the game.
Right.
So yeah. Grimsung says, which sets are you hoping receives a rework in a future patches? Something like making Rothma do a Bone Spirit or Zunamasa into Zombie Bear's focus set, etc. We kind of talked about this earlier in the podcast, shift the 4-man metas. But if I had to pick solo, I would say Natalia's, I suppose. Inarius still is shitty, in my opinion. Like, even though it got buffed and it's like usable, like, I just don't think it's a cool set in the way it plays.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean,
I could talk about Necro all day. Like, Tragruel should be worked to be Nova.
Yeah.
Wrathma should be reworked to do Army of the Dead set. All the 4 pieces should be re-examined.
Is still the coolest looking set in the game, in my opinion. Like, Inarius looks badass. I love it.
I like Tragruel better.
So, do you?
Yeah.
I think Inarius is good.
And then, obviously, Necro as a whole. Like, LOD is just better. So, that's got to be looked at somehow.
Killer Plague says, after the terrible seasonal theme, do you think they should keep trying new seasonal themes or start to reuse past seasonal themes? I think we really just kind of hit on this too. Recycle and focus effort on balance.
Yeah. We'd both rather see balance and items and new ways to play the game than some lightning effect that triggers off kills or something.
I mean, if it's really easy to add a buff that gives us like COE or NEMS or whatever, man, Traveler's Pledge, like, that's fine. Like, if you want to do something like that, but I don't think that's any better than double bounty mats, so just do that. And I think they should never recycle double goblins. I don't think that should ever be a seasonal theme again, but I think they should do double goblin weekends. I think that should be a thing that they throw in every now and then.
I'd be down more for like, I think Double Goblins is like literally the most boring thing in the universe. Like I'd so much rather see bounties or
yeah,
keys.
I think that they should throw some of those easier, things on for a weekend. Just say, hey, this weekend in Diablo 3, double bounty mats. Hey, this weekend in Diablo 3, double goblins. Hey, this weekend in Diablo 3, double gold. Even though, like, does double gold matter? Absolutely not. But it's just a thing. It's like, okay, they can click a button and turn the buff on for the weekend. Like, that might encourage people to play a little bit. Double bounties might make, okay, so if double bounties hit this weekend, I might go, you know what? Let's do a couple rounds of bounties. I'm usually not going to do them, but let's do a couple, So, I don't know. Hex says, you're trapped inside a video game. You have one life to beat the game or to beat the game to escape. Die and you're stuck there forever. What video game do you choose? One life or you're dead. SSF hardcore. You gotta live.
You gotta live, but if you die, you're stuck in the video game?
Yeah, if you die, it's like Jumanji, I guess. You're stuck inside the video game forever.
So then it's just a question of like, do we consciously die because we'd rather be in the video game? And what video game do we pick?
I don't know. Just answer the damn question. I mean, I'm pretty confident I could go through the campaign of Diablo without dying pretty consistently. If it was like if there were $1 million on the line, provided there was no latency, I would go slow.
But you want to go into a game where you're gonna have a great experience. I don't know.
I mean, you don't think it'd be fun to like be a necro and like kill things? I wouldn't choose necro, by the way.
You wouldn't choose necro? Well, because you could die.
Tanky. Yeah, I'd pick tanky.
Let's go poison scythe, bro. Yeah, I guess. I mean, that'd be cool, but like, I don't know.
And, like, you can't die. This is the thing that people are missing. Like, people are like, GTA.
Well, maybe you want to die. Yeah, maybe you would rather be in the world. If you go do
Red Dead, and then you're gonna get shot from a mile away by some bandit.
Right, but why would you want to be stuck in Red Dead? That game sucks. So you have to think about like what game would be fun to be stuck in, even if that weird event that you fail. Would you want to grind rifts and greater rifts in real life for all of eternity?
That would be. You can't even suicide at that point. You're just stuck in the game too. Right? You respawn. Yeah.
Right. So Diablo's a bad choice. What would you be okay with being stuck inside the rest of your life?
I mean, a GTA would be the closest thing, but that's like carnage 24/7. You come in 10 years from now, you're doing P. I'm still in the strip clubs, man. Still in the strip clubs. I don't know, dude.
Yeah. No idea, man.
Pokemon Sword and the Shield. There you go.
I guess a game that gets content, so you're not bored.
Okay, so you're going to POE? You're going to be a fucking farmer? Just answer POE, shill.
Wow. I don't even know, like, why would I want to be in the POE world? Like, as a real life person. I don't know. It gets content, but do I really? No, I don't know. That's a tough question. That's really philosophical.
Okay. I got you. Acre says, if you could prevent one TV or movie character death and see how the show plays out, who would it be and why? So you get to alter the story.
Darth Maul, I guess.
Darth Maul? Damn. Okay.
The first one that jumps out to me. Yeah.
So listen. The greatest show of all time, Game of Thrones.
Whose death wouldn't change anything? Oh, Ned? But then it's like a happily ever after story, maybe.
No, well, we don't know. But it's going back to season 1. The whole thing's rewritten. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then maybe we don't get that shitty ending. Maybe.
I mean, they kind of set up Game of Thrones to do that. Like, with Bronn or whatever, like maybe he could fuck something up and change history, and they could just redo the show.
I don't know, So All right, that's it, man. That's all we had for questions this week.
Easy
mode. If you guys want to submit questions to the podcast again, man, join our Discords, follow us on Twitter, send us some messages, and we'll get your questions in here. So if you want to catch more of me, I'm at ThaPChild on Twitters, and then twitch.tv/ThaPChild.
Yeah.
YouTube, you can just search ThaPChild.
I'm Lord_Fluffy. Double those underscores on the Twitter, but I don't need to tell you guys. I'm the face of Diablo. We'll see you guys next week.